let's do something we haven't done before. Cars that have relatively small things. Yeah. Here. Proper knobs that you can reach and feel. I think that statement was all right. Moving on. Hello and welcome back, FarmerTorque. Everyday cars, my everyday car, the Jeep Renegade Trailhawk, and we'll labour on that because the Trailhawk bit is really important. And yeah, it's going to feature more in the channel, karting around my mountain bike and just being around. And so thought I'd tell you a little bit more about it. Unicorn spec, which was really important, had to have, as I'll mention, had to have the panoramic roof, the sound system, and this, they come up so rarely. This one did, and I bought it. It's done 40,000 miles now, and a strange revelation. I mean, I do not understand this, and boy, am I tempting fate, is that it's been reliable. Now, as a farmer, I've been weaned on Discoveries, Defenders, and lastly, a Range Rover L322, which I don't understand. I haven't had to take this to the dealer. And I don't lose sleep at night that is it going to start up in the morning? So that's a kiss of death for this one. But I'm yeah. It's the most impressive, unimpressive car I've ever owned, which is a bit of a, come on, we'll drive it around the farm and get it down. I think we'll go down by the river and there's quite a steep bit down there. It's bone dry at the moment, and I'll witter on about its off-road ability. Let's off-road. I do actually. I'm one of the 1%, not even 1% of the populace who own four-wheel drives. I do actually need it to go off-road. And forget your glossy magazines, you know, this thing's unstoppable. I'll give you a clue. Just about anything on a four-wheel drive, on road tyres, is very easily stoppable. And it's also even easier, Range Rover Sport, Porsche Cayenne, aka that Q8 owners, it's remarkably easy to rip off your front and rear bumpers as well while you're showing your neighbour how good it is across his lawn. So yeah, we'll come to that. Have fun, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, let's do something we haven't done before, which is go down a hill that I haven't been. I wouldn't dream of doing this in the wet. And it's just that's hill descent control going along here. Yeah. Well, come on, there's a few things that could do that, but it did it, and it is bone dry here. So, yeah, well, welcome to the Renegade Trailhawk Jeep. That's the bit that matters, isn't it? So I said I'd do a full review of my Jeep here. And sorry, I'm just looking at the the drone is up there tracking this. And it's not the most reliable tracking in the world. So I'm thinking of 20 things at once. Well, 5. Maybe 2. All right, I'm looking at the drone and seeing where it's tracking. It's either going to fly into that tree or it's doing okay. It's doing okay. Yeah. What's this Jeep like? Well, we're going to tell you. As Hugo stops for a poo. Oh dear. Still on there tracking. Oh, I've had it for a couple of years now. And it follows an L322 Range Rover. And are we still being tracked? This is not great TV, is it? But we are still, it is still tracking, which I find incredible. Yeah, it follows an L322 Range Rover. That's not the current shape, the last of the, what many say was the shape to have. And there were Discoveries and Defenders before that, and Jeeps. I've had a couple of Jeeps in the past. So, yeah, we've been around a bit. So why this one? Well, it's all I could afford. No, not strictly true. But cost did come into it, because if you go back 2 years when I bought this, with this whole change to electric thing, big four-wheel drives have become pretty expensive. And working out where the depreciation was going to go, I wouldn't have been happy anyway chucking 60, 80 grand into a blooming four-wheel drive that's just going to be disappearing value, even if I had the money. So, and also, I wanted to get away from you take the Range Rover, best part of 3 tons, and it feels it on the road. Whereas this is near 1.55, and well, we'll talk about it on the road as to how that plays out. Right, we're down at a spot by the river. We'll have a little look outside, but before we do that, we could have a little look at the inside. Well, while we're here, we'll have a look in the inside as well, generally. And the interior it's okay, it's fine, and it's nothing special at all. I mean, there's leather seats in here. We've got farmer's hat there, a few cameras, and it's a bit dirty. But electric leather seats, which in this class of vehicle isn't too bad. You see the coloured circuits. You see the speakers down there, and all this orangey highlight, which is, I could take or leave. It's okay. Now, this is a farmer edition, he says. We've got the normal sat nav, which if I hit that is okay, but it's okay, but it's not the best. But here's the secret weapon. An iPad mini sits up here really neatly. It's not, I mean, if I hold that up to my eye line there, you can see where that is. And the vents still work perfectly all right behind there, so I'm happy about that. And that piggybacks off my phone, and I can have live, here it's the OS Maps, which I subscribe to, and I can get fantastic mapping. I can also have Waze on there. I've got all my music on there. Really neat. I can have all the mapping up on there, and I can use the if we go back to media on the thingy here, so I can play my music and see all that, and that's lovely. What have we got down here? Oh, buttons. Actually, though, I will go off on one here. Proper knobs that you can reach and feel. I think that statement was all right. Moving on. But in the dark, you could get into this and you know what's what. Certain cars, I won't mention Audi, and Porsche, with buttons everywhere, you don't stand a chance. Calm down, calm down. Anyway, so climate control, blah, 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 blah. Heated seats here, left and right. Heated steering wheel, bliss. It's actually surprisingly nice. Parking sensors that are really irritating on the lanes. Okay, another button below the other buttons. But this one's important. This is the four-wheel drive center, but it's really pretty simple. Four-wheel drive low. Now, if I hit that, and also four-wheel drive lock comes on. This is the Trailhawk bit, where four-wheel drive low uses first, it locks it in first, which is a very low gear on this 9-speed gearbox, and it's like a low range, and it's surprisingly effective. And the lock, because this is four-wheel drive on demand electronically, that locks that, so you've always got the transmission in 4. And then of course this one, hill descent control. So oh, and twiddle this, and oops, there you go. Snow, sand, mud, there we go, mud and rock. Ta-da! It's the four-wheel drive down there that we've said. Stop start, that really irritates me. And okay, then we come over here. It's quite a nice steering wheel, he says, and I've got buttons. I've got more buttons on the steering wheel. I do sort of phone, hands-free, that sort of works. I mean, voice activation, that works. What have we got over here? Cruise control over here is really good, like that. Speed limiter, and these things are called indicators. Xenon lights around here, so they're not too bad. They were an option, part of the option pack. So were the electric seats, so were the leather seats, so was the sound system, and the sound system's pretty good, so I quite like that. Music's important. And oh, what I quite like is here we got the dials there, and their idea of a red line on the rev counter there on the left. Sorry for the dust there, it shows up in the camera. But we'll come through, I'm just coming through the menus here, and there we go. A little point, but I've got a conventional speedo, but I can put a really clear digital speedo in there, and that is really useful, so we like that. And yeah, oh, and we've talked about it before. Sorry, come down here to the little Easter egg there, and I can't remember. Oh yeah, where's some more? There's one. Forgive the bottle top. Oomph, there's one. I really like that touch. And somewhere it says 1941. I don't know where. Where says it? Oh, I'm hopeless. Oh, and up here some more buttons. Oh, and a mirror that does things like that. It's not until you actually look round it, the spec is actually pretty good. Okay, we're down by the river, and it's easier to have a look. Let's have a little chat about, well, where should we start? Looks-wise, I quite like it. I wouldn't say I sit and look at it for hours or anything like that, but it's purposeful. It's a sort of chunky monkey, and the Trailhawk, the raised ride height, the bigger wheels, the different bumpers and wheel arches, they sort of make it look proper. And as we already talked about, it is pretty jolly capable off-road. So those two things together. The colour is another matter. I wouldn't have chosen white myself, but I bought it second-hand, so beggars and choosers. And one factor that was really important to me was the spec of it. And if I was going to have one of these, it had to have the panoramic glass sunroof and the sound system, and they just never come up. Once a year I see one with a sunroof, but it hasn't got the sound system, and this one has pretty much every other extra as well. So when this one came up, can I live with white? And the answer, of course, yes, I can. I'd almost make a case now, I quite like it, with all the black bits that it has. I normally don't like those, etc. But, yeah. But given a choice, I would have had a more subtle or a darker colour. Right, a really important bit of it. This is a full panoramic opening
glass roof. And there's a very significant thing about this. Just anal fact, and you can sort of see it there. And but it's where the sunroof starts relative to the driver's head. And in many cars today, the sunroof is so far back that you can get in as a driver and not be aware that it is a sunroof. Well, you know what I mean. So, as you see here, I've kept the FarmerTorque hat on to demonstrate the headroom, which is adequate. Not many cars I could wear this in. But you see this sunroof thing here, where I'm sitting. I mean, it's just blooming obvious it's the sunroof. It's great. I love it. And many cars, it's back here. And so you're sort of, I will remove. And you know what I'm saying. Overall then, yeah, it's no beauty, but various things. I mean, we look at this. We've got the trail rated badge. You haven't got one of those, have you? And what else on it? It's very well spec'd. I can't remember all the things. Here's a nice little touch, just round the back here. Jeep do know how to play on their heritage. And can you see, I mean, call them Easter eggs, I think they're called. All around the car, the Jeep and headlight symbols. And that's pretty iconic. I quite like that touch. Oh, here's another one. Socking grate, that is a real tow bar hook. None of these things you've got somewhere in the boot that you screw in one silly little ring. These are proper, there, one on the front as well. Removable tow bar, it stays on because I use it quite often. You might ask, why is he standing under the boot? Because I can. That's as simple as that. And it's brilliant because when I'm mucking about with cameras especially, and in the rain, you stay relatively dry. And there's a surprising number of cars that have relatively small things. Yeah. Well, what's it like to drive on a road? Well, firstly, it's got the most irritating electronic handbrake. And I blame it entirely for this. From my racing driving stuff, I left foot brake everywhere. Well, I do in this, but if you touch the brake and the throttle at the same time, the engine dies. Oh, great. It's not the only modern car that does that. That's a wind. And it isn't the most prestigious thing in the world. It's based on the Renegade, which is a, not low end, but, you know, family soft roader, so to speak. So, not good. However, there are good bits. Firstly, the Trailhawk is a frisky little devil as standard. Well, it's okay as standard, but because I've had this one remapped at Celtic Tuning, who were jolly nice people, this is now a healthy, just under 220, something at 218 brake, but really healthy torque. And yes, I used the frisky word. I will reaffirm that. 9-speed gearbox is fine. The low bit we talked about. The weight. Here, I'm just trundling through bends. It is after Discoveries and Range Rovers, the steering is a delight. The 1.5 tons means it turns. And up to normal speed, well, even briskly, it's quite neutral chassis. But its real thing is a fabulous ride. Passive springs, no air suspension, nothing complicated like that. But it's a really soft ride, absorbent ride. Let's go there. Yes, absorbent. and I don't really know what the spec of the brakes are, but when I'm making progress, yeah, the brakes are pretty good as well. Performance, I've GPS'd it with the RaceLogic stuff, and it's sort of mid-7s to 60, which, you know, is not going to set the hair on fire, but it feels lively. And the 0 to 60 doesn't mean a lot. It's the mid-range punch, and this is extremely nippy in the mid-range. And so that's pretty good. Noise levels, and I've got Michelin Cross Climate tyres on it, cut the road noise, and at motorway speeds it's around 69 dB. Now that might not mean much, but that's nearly very quiet, which is impressive. And that, combined with these seats, they're leather, they're electric, they don't look, but they're really comfortable. And when I say really comfortable, they are really comfortable after 6 hours. So that's good. So the controls all work. All the buttons are filled up on this because it's such a high spec. Love the panoramic glass roof. The Beat sound system is pretty good. I've said it before, but this is the most impressive, unimpressive car. I nearly said driven, certainly owned. So, yeah, happy days, really.
Well, there you go. It's really weird, how to describe this thing, because, and I meant that bit about whenever I go to it, it's not like if you got a really nice car, you go, whoa, yeah, looking forward to this. And it's going to sound awful, but it's the opposite. But when I said not long into a journey, if not smiling is the wrong word, it's not a fun car, but it's got tons of character. And so many cars these days are bland and dull, and how good they are doesn't matter. They're just boring. And this thing has a bit about it, and that I get. And not for everyone, I freely admit that. But yeah, it'll probably stay around for a bit, because I'd be far too keen, if any money is around, to spend it on a motorbike or a camera or etc, etc. So there, happy days. Thanks for watching all the normal stuff. More videos coming soon. Bye for now.